Diddy trial's most disturbing claims. Testimony resumed after Cassie Ventura, an escort, and Don Richard all took the stand during the first week. The case against Sean Diddy Combs is ongoing this week in New York City. The music mogul faces charges including sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transporting individuals for prostitution. He has consistently denied the allegations. If found guilty on all counts, which also involve arson and bribery, Combs could receive a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years, with a potential maximum of life imprisonment. Cassie Ventura, who was in a relationship with Combs from 2007 to 2018 after signing with Bad Boy Records in 2005, gave extensive testimony in the first week. On the stand, she described explicit sexual encounters, referred to as freak-offs, and accused Combs of drug use, physical abuse, blackmail, and rape. You can find a detailed summary of her testimony here. Other witnesses included an escort allegedly involved in the freak-offs and a federal agent who recounted what was recovered during Combs' arrest at a New York City hotel in September 2024. Former Danity Kane member Don Richard also began testifying Friday, and her testimony is expected to continue this week. Special Agent details Diddy home raid in court on Tuesday. Special Agent Gerard Gannon from Homeland Security Investigations took the stand, recounting his role as lead agent during the March 25, 2024, raid of Sean Diddy Combs' Miami Beach mansion. Gannon explained he was assigned to the operation as part of an ongoing human trafficking probe. According to his testimony, around 80 to 90 law enforcement personnel were involved in the search due to the estate's size. The property spans roughly 20,000 square feet and includes a main residence and guest house. Agents were split into pairs to search each room. Gannon said the operation kicked off with 25 members of a special response team sweeping the premises, anticipating both heightened security systems and possibly armed guards. Additional agents were stationed on boats to block any escape attempts via water. While most raids begin early in the morning, this one was delayed until 3 p.m. to allow Combs time to leave the property. Authorities believed he was departing for a family trip that day. Following standard protocol, agents used a vehicle to break through the front gate, described by Gannon as the fastest and safest method to enter the estate. During the search, agents reportedly discovered high heels, sex toys, baby oil, personal lubricants, and lingerie in a closet. They also recovered 2 loaded magazines and parts of AR-15 rifles, specifically upper and lower receivers. Gannon said they were unable to identify the manufacturer of one of the rifles. He presented close-up photos of firearms with their serial numbers scratched off, noting that this makes it much more difficult, if not impossible, to trace ownership. He also pointed out that although most AR-15s aren't designed to fire automatically, the ones seized had full auto indicators. However, the selector switches on all the weapons were set to semi-automatic at the time they were confiscated, a setting that can be easily changed. After this testimony, the judge dismissed the jury and adjourned court for the day. Gannon is expected to continue his testimony Wednesday morning. Cassie's mother testifies, "I was scared for my daughter's safety." On Tuesday, Regina Ventura, mother of Cassie Ventura, testified in court, recounting a distressing phone call she received from her daughter in December 2011. During the call, Cassie claimed that Sean Diddy Combs had threatened to leak explicit sex tapes of her. An email shown in court revealed Cassie's written words, alleging that Combs threatened to release 2 videos and stated someone would physically harm her and Scott Muscudi, Kid Cutie. She added that Combs emphasized it wouldn't be by his own hands, as he planned to be out of the country when it occurred. Regina testified that around the same time, Combs personally contacted her, claiming he needed to recover money he had invested in Cassie's career. He demanded $20,000, expressing anger over her relationship with Muscudi. Out of fear for her daughter's safety, Regina said she and her husband took out a home equity loan on their house to gather the money and sent it to Combs. According to her, the money was returned 5 days later without any explanation or follow-up communication. December 2011 also marked the first time Cassie told her mother that Combs had physically assaulted her. Regina said she photographed her daughter's bruises to preserve the evidence, stating, "I wanted to make sure that we memorialized it." Former assistant confronted over physical altercation. During cross-examination, Combs' former assistant David James was pressed on his own misconduct during his time working for the mogul. James admitted to grabbing a female chef's wrists in anger during a confrontation at Combs' Star Island residence in Florida, an incident that was reported to HR at Bad Boy Entertainment. The altercation stemmed from the chef giving him directions about Combs' whereabouts, which upset him. "I grabbed her 2 wrists, squeezed, and told her to stay in her lane," James testified. When Combs learned about the incident, James said he was reprimanded and told, "You can't be putting your hands on women." He was warned that repeating such behavior would get him fired and was instructed to apologize with a written note and a gift, which he said he did. The chef eventually forgave him, he added. On redirect, James testified that Combs later asked him to file a false police report, claiming the chef had been the aggressor. Instead, James said he drove around for a while and then told Combs he had filed the report, even though he hadn't. David James on working for Combs, fine line between business and pleasure, also on Tuesday. James described the intense demands of working for Combs. While he respected him professionally, James said the job quickly proved to be overwhelming. He testified that Combs often blurred the lines between work and personal life, especially during frequent travel, which was framed as business-related but felt like a mix of both. Describing Combs' presence, James said the artist was constantly surrounded by a crowd, creating a chaotic atmosphere. Asked if Combs was gracious, James replied, "I don't think gracious is a word I would use to describe Mr. Combs." He added that while Combs rarely signed autographs, staff members were sometimes tasked with signing memorabilia on his behalf. James recounted that an assistant once had to be hospitalized for dehydration after working a 24-hour shift. He noted that among Combs' security team, a common saying was, "You know what rhymes with tired? Fired." Despite the challenges, James said there was a sense of unity among the staff. "Mama Combs called me her son at one point," he testified. Former assistant describes control and culture in Diddy's circle. After testimony from Cassie's friend Carrie Morgan, former assistant David James took the stand to describe what he called a controlling and hierarchical work environment under Sean Diddy Combs. In his job interviews, James said he was told, "This is Mr. Combs' kingdom. We're all here to serve in it." He recalled that Combs' security team often reminded him to stay in his lane, making it clear they expected obedience. "I knew not to cross them. I just listened," he added. James also testified about an early conversation with Cassie Ventura after she began dating Combs. According to him, she confided, "This lifestyle is crazy," and when he suggested she leave, she replied, I can't get out." James said Ventura told him Combs had complete control over her music career. During his tenure from 2007 to 2009, James said he witnessed Combs dating several women simultaneously. He described Kim Porter as the main girlfriend, while Cassie and 3 other women were involved as well. After James's testimony, the jury was dismissed for the day. Cassie's former best friend alleges abuse and intimidation following the testimony of former Danity Kane singer Don Richard. Cassie Ventura's longtime former friend Carrie Morgan took the stand. Though no longer in contact, Morgan described Ventura as her best friend from 2001 to 2018. She said their friendship ended after she was allegedly assaulted by Combs, an incident she says marked the final break between them. Under questioning, Morgan admitted she was not testifying voluntarily, but appeared in court due to a subpoena. "I've moved on with my life, away from all these people and problems," she said. Morgan shared that she met Cassie on a modeling job when they were teens, and by 2004, they were roommates in New York. At that time, she described Ventura as someone who rarely drank or used drugs. Once Cassie began her relationship with Combs, Morgan said she got to know the rapper personally. While he could be kind and generous, she said he was also aggressive and prone to mood swings. According to Morgan, she saw a change in Ventura's demeanor as the relationship progressed, noting she lost her spark and confidence. She also testified that Combs frequently belittled Cassie, criticizing her appearance, behavior, and social interactions. Morgan claimed that Combs would obsessively try to track Cassie's whereabouts, calling Morgan up to 50 times in a row. She also testified to witnessing 2 separate instances of physical abuse, one in Jamaica and another in Los Angeles. In LA, she said she saw Combs push and possibly hit Cassie. When she asked a bodyguard to intervene, he refused. The Jamaica incident, Morgan testified, involved guttural, terrifying screams. She said Combs dragged Cassie by her hair and may have knocked her unconscious. Morgan and Cassie later hid in a ditch to escape him. She also recounted a disturbing episode at the Intercontinental Hotel. According to Morgan, Cassie returned home covering her face, with Combs showing up about 30 minutes later and banging on the door with a hammer. Police arrived but reportedly left when Cassie refused to show her ID. Morgan further testified that she was physically assaulted by Combs herself, hit with a coat hanger and choked during an interrogation over who Cassie was allegedly cheating with. She said she sustained a concussion and was later paid $30,000 to sign an NDA. "We haven't spoken since," Morgan said. "The last time I spoke to Sean was the night of the assault. The last time I saw Cassie was when I signed the NDA." Despite encouraging Ventura to leave Combs, Morgan said Cassie told her she couldn't, citing her dependence on him for her job, car, and housing. Cross-examination and claims of hush money following a lunch recess, Carrie Morgan faced cross-examination from the defense. She admitted she only saw Ventura a couple of times per month and described some jealousy on Cassie's part, particularly regarding Kim Porter and another woman named Gina, both of whom had close relationships with Combs. Morgan also testified that Combs showed jealousy over Ventura's interactions with actor Michael B. Jordan. One of the alleged assaults, she said, was triggered by Combs' suspicion that Cassie was cheating. Under cross, Morgan stated, "The reason I stopped speaking to her was because she wasn't supportive of me after that incident. I draw my line at physical abuse. She also claimed Ventura told her any hush payments came from Combs and that Cassie acted as the intermediary. She offered money to settle the situation, so I wouldn't sue or speak out publicly, Morgan said. On redirect, Morgan firmly rejected the idea that the Jamaica incident stemmed from jealousy. She said it occurred after Combs grew angry that she was taking too long in the bathroom. Dawn. Richard back on the stand. Richard returned to the witness stand first thing Monday morning, where she continued speaking about an alleged attack on Ventura by Combs in 2009. She said she felt threatened and claimed he was frequently violent toward Cassie. He would punch her, choke her, drag her, slap her in the mouth. I saw him kick her, punch her in the stomach, she continued, saying it would happen either randomly or when Ventura spoke up for herself. When asked whether she ever intervened, she said she didn't, for her own safety, and said Combs told her to stay out of their relationship, or else we would pay for it. Richard also claimed she witnessed Combs have marijuana, ketamine, ecstasy, and cocaine delivered, and said he carried handguns, as did his security. Under cross-examination, she was asked about her own lawsuit against Diddy, wondering whether her allegations have changed since meeting with prosecutors in this case. I've been consistent, she maintained. Defense also tried to point out inconsistencies with her recollection of the 2009 skillet incident at Diddy's home, with Richard saying she's told it as best she can recall. As defense continued to poke holes in her statements about threats, drugs, and guns on the stand, comparing them against past statements, she added, "As time progresses, I remember more." Richard then denied filing her own lawsuit against Combs to make money, telling defense she was only asking to be compensated for her work. Rate in the comments your thoughts about this.